What is going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night. Time for some Texans to talk some football. You guys all know me, of course, SAJ. Um, I don't have a good place where we're coming live from. I was thinking about this all weekend long, and I just couldn't come up with anything good that would be relevant. I mean, I could think of some old stores that were here that closed, but nobody's going to remember them.
That's kind of part of the point
So
too, you know? I mean,
yeah.
doesn't
Okay,
have
you know what? You know what? I'm going to come from one, and I can't remember the name of the restaurant. Um, but it is the restaurant of the wife of Joe Paisano, owner of Paisano's Restaurants. That was over on Evers, and I can't remember the cross street, but it is outside the loop. It was outside the loop about a block and a half. No, I take it back. It was probably about 3 blocks, but it was on the right-hand side. Old rundown place, kind of had every single one of the recipes that Paisanos had. If anybody knows anything about the Paisanos legacy here in San Antonio, Joe Paisano married this woman. She helped him start Paisanos, get the business going and everything like that. Their relationship did not work out, ended in a divorce. They wound up splitting up, but as part of the divorce settlement, his wife got access to all of the recipes. So everything that they made at Paisano's restaurants, she was making at her restaurants. And it was also actually a little bit cheaper, right? Because they didn't have all the overhead and the fancy ingredients. And so all the customers that were loyal to her went over to her place, kept her in business for years. The only thing that stopped her, only thing, and it's really sad, but the only thing that stopped her was COVID. She shut down and decided not to open back up after COVID. So that's when everything
man,
ended.
I
So
think I
that's
know
where I'm
what you're
coming.
talking about, but I can't remember the name of the place. But that's it's an interesting story because that's kind of the same thing that happened with the Jailhouse Cafe. Uh remember the
Oh,
Jailhouse Cafe? They were big and stuff, and obviously the huge cinnamon rolls and chicken fried steak and all that. And then the husband and wife got divorced, and then she ended up starting Lulu's, which was basically the same thing. They had all the same food the Jailhouse Cafe did, but it was just a different name. So
I did not
really,
know
yeah.
that. Yeah, that is very
So
interesting. Because I thought something was up when they had the exact same cinnamon rolls
yeah, they're
and
really big
everything
ass ones
looked
falling
good.
off the plate. God, those are so good.
Guys, seriously, for those of you that don't know Texas lore or San Antonio lore rather, Brian is not joking. These cinnamon rolls literally were
Mm-hmm.
this big. They came in their own container and they would be spilling out. They were so damn big. And that's just one cinnamon roll. In fact, if I remember correctly, was it Lulu's? Somebody was
Yep.
featured on Guy's
That's
Big
it
Bites.
was yeah, it was Lulu's, but it was Man versus Food. Yeah.
There you go.
Because he was
There
he
you go.
was here doing that
So,
the Big Lou's whatever their massive pizza thing. And I think that's what he was doing. Or he just no. I'm sorry, he
yes.
just visited Big Lou's. I don't remember what the actual food challenge he was doing here, but he visited Big Lou's, visited Lulu's, and then did his food challenge somewhere else. So
Okay. Wasn't that Chunky's where he did the Four Horsemen burger?
I think so. I think that was the challenge that he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was insane. So that's another one. That one's still open. But if you're ever in San Antonio and you want to take on a burger challenge that you probably aren't going to survive, go to Chunky's and get the Four Horsemen burger. It is quite literally the hottest burger on earth. And we're not here to talk about food. We're actually going to talk about football at some point in time. Um, so I think we probably should clear the air, right? We were friends going into this weekend's game.
Oh, of
We're
course.
still
I
friends
mean, we're
now,
going to talk about what
right?
everybody wants us to talk about, and that was that Bengals Broncos game from last night. Of course, of course.
Yeah,
That's what
of
people are
course,
here
of
for. I
course.
mean, my gosh.
Um, Guys, let us know how you feel about it. Obviously, we have feelings about the tie game, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But start sharing your thoughts in the comments over there because that's one of the highlights of tonight's show is talking about the tie and what everybody's thoughts are and everything. Real quick though, B, you like my new hat?
I don't know what's to say on the back of it.
Or
Yeah, you can go ahead and burn that. You can go ahead and burn that trash.
yeah, baby. I actually got this at the fan shop in Austin. We happened to be up in Austin doing some work, and Coach Tom decided we had to stop by the stadium and say hi to Arch and all the other kids. And of course, we didn't get anywhere near them. I mean, they probably would have shot us.
I
But
mean, I
while
could
we
just
were
imagine
there,
coaches being
we pulled into
outside,
the
be
gift
like,
shop.
"Hi, Arch, how you doing?" The hell, old man? Why are you
Yeah,
calling for me like that?
it would have been
You're
100%
my
creepy.
hero,
You know what
Arch.
though? Um, I did see something that really surprised me, and that was a kid attending classes at uh, University of Texas wearing an Oregon football shirt and walking around the concourse. And I was like, you could be the dumbest or the bravest person I've seen, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't walk into the hornet's nest like that. Um, Again, we talk about it here. We have a whole show based on and dedicated to football in Texas. This is a big deal. Like there's no there is nothing like the cult that is football here in Texas. Wearing an Oregon shirt in the heart
Mm-mm.
of football country, dude, that gets you, well, maybe not beat up right now, but a couple of years ago when Texas football was really great, that might have been a problem. Now it's kind of like,
I don't know. We'll
you
see.
know, uh, that move to SEC, I think, kind of humbled Texas just a
I don't
little
know,
bit,
man. They've been
right?
doing all right, but it's still early in the season, so
Against weak opponents. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's talk about the game, okay? Because again, we're here to talk about NFL football first. Give me your thoughts on that Packers Cowboys game because I have some interesting takes on it that I think we need to address.
I mean, it was a great game. I mean, it was entertaining. It was, obviously back and forth. Um I again, the Cowboys defense is completely terrible. And I saw something today that uh NFL teams that score 40 points with zero turnovers are now 300, 0, and 1 in the Super Bowl era. Cowboys are the first team
Wow.
to score 40 points, have zero turnovers, and not win the game.
That is insane. That is a
Yeah,
crazy,
I mean,
crazy
and
stat.
you know, dude, I knew it was gonna happen. Uh I freaking coming third quarter, I thought it was gonna be a blowout. The way this started, up 13-0, and they Cowboys blocked the field goal or the extra point, returned it for the 2 points, and that's kind of where I guess they got their groove back. Yes.
Are you sure it was blocked? I don't know that it was blocked. I think it
No,
was
dude, it
shanked.
was it was
Is
absolutely
it
blocked. The guy came from the right side, hit it, and it fell right into the arms of the guy who ran it back. 1,000%
okay?
blocked.
Because one of the playback angles I saw, you could see a guy coming in, but you couldn't see anybody getting a hand on it. And I swear it slammed into the back of the center or the left guard and then shanked off into one of the Cowboy players' hands
Oh
and he
well, that's
ran it back.
possible. I mean, it hit somebody. I don't know. I was pretty sure it was the Cowboys that ran off of the side of the edge of the line there, but um, after that, the Cowboys kind of got into rhythm, and I think that's when the scoring started. And I think both ways. Back and forth the whole game. Cowboys score, Packers score. And dude, that last touchdown by Pickens, 45 seconds left. I was screaming for him to go down at the 2-yard line because, like, dude, we're just left too much time on the clock for him, especially just needing a field goal. I know, Pickens wanted his touchdown. It wasn't a position where you were up already, so run the clock out. But you can't guarantee that Cowboys would have scored a touchdown at that point. But you know what? I think he should have gone down, run another play or two,
Yeah.
take another 40 seconds, and leave the Packers with 8 seconds or something, or 15, 20, whatever. Not 40 seconds to drive down. So, and yeah, then in overtime, I mean, obviously, Parsons had I guess it's considered a sack because he got tackled with no gain. It's kind of dumb that it was a sack, but I understand those are the rules. But Parsons got his sack against Dak. But whatever you want to call it, they freaking saved a touchdown because Dak was going to run in untouched without that. And even that, man, even if Dak would have scored a touchdown, there was still 2 minutes left in there. I'm pretty sure Packers would have marched down and scored a touchdown as well. So it probably would have ended the same either way. It wasn't
Wow. I think, Rankin, that Hamuda just wanted to give you a kiss. And he was there at the game. So I'm sure he did a bunch of kissing of Cowboys fans. And they probably pressed charges against him. So moving on from that, it was, man. Okay. So first and foremost, I know you're saying that your defense was bad. Okay. But I have to remind you first and foremost that Golden was not a super big factor in that game like he should have been. Okay. Uh, your defense pretty much had him covered up for the most part. The only times we really did anything was when we were able to get the underneath routes. So, 10, 15 yarders, things like that. When he went deep, a lot of those are, if you look at Love's stats, 31 of 43, probably about 4, maybe 5, if I remember correctly, of those shots were deep shots to Golden that were either overthrown or underthrown. Thank God that nobody was really paying that close of attention to drop back and get the pick, right? You guys did a pretty good job covering Golden. I mean, he had 5 receptions of 6 targets. I guess my stats were a little bit wrong. Maybe it wasn't Golden that was going deep, but only 58 yards. Okay, 46 was his longest target. So 4 receptions, 12 yards, minus that one big one. Okay, for the most part, I mean, he was not that. He was not a big threat. He was not a huge factor in the game like I thought he was going to be. Another thing that I found really interesting, you're talking about your defense. I know our offensive line had some problems, but they were completely exposed this game, right? Let me see how many times. Love got sacked at least once, but
He got
pressured
just one sack. There were a few pressures, but still didn't get to him.
No, but a lot of that is also because of the guy that we gave you, right? He's able to tie a lot of things up. You look at Josh Jacobs, 22 attempts for 86 yards total. Okay, if your defense was that bad, we should have lit you up on the ground, and
I
we
mean,
didn't.
y'all ran
Right?
for 164 yards. So that
Well,
that
true,
counts
true.
as lighting up on the ground. It wasn't all Jacobs, but it was
Ish,
164 yards that
ish,
y'all ran on us for. So
ish, ish, right? And some of it was from Jordan Love too.
337 yards
Which,
passing, 164 yards. That's
right.
over 500 yards of offense. So
Hmm. But but on the same token, let's look at the other side. Your guy, Williams, 20 attempts,
yep,
85 yards, right? And you know what the secret was? Keeping
running away from Parsons, keeping Parsons double teamed.
yeah, keeping Parsons on one side of
Yeah,
the field or the other. Because if they would have taken him up the middle, you could have tied him up and end around and been fine. Okay. Parsons is great for the blitz. Does not help in run stopping at all, because he's going to be too worried about blasting through the line to get back at the quarterback. And Robert, thank you. Somebody that agrees with me. Okay. Here's what the thing that I'm most upset with this game. I care that the game. Oh, by the way, real quick, right? Because it is tradition. I don't know if you had one, but we didn't get to do this on Horns Forward yesterday,
no,
so we're going to do it
I
here,
just have water.
right? So let me salute. Doing a little liquid death tonight. There you go. Good stuff. Now, Parsons had an effect early in the game. I have to. I mean, you have to agree with that, right? He was making a bit of a difference. He was
But
putting
he
pressure on Prescott. He was mixing things up. However, he started getting tired, started getting frustrated because he was getting double teamed. And I get that. I get that, right? Um, but I believe it was in the third quarter. He took himself out of the game, went
well,
into the medical
he
tent,
didn't take
was
himself
complaining
out of the
about his
game.
back hurting.
He got taken out of the game, and they
Okay,
told
good.
him because he got no he because he got hit. He got hit with the helmet on the side, and so the whatever concussion specialist took him out to have him evaluated.
Okay, well, that
Yeah,
I did not know. All I saw was him
yeah.
walking off the field. And it wasn't the coaches calling him
No,
out.
it was it
Okay.
was the whatever they call him, the independent specialist or something, or neurologist, whatever it was. They took him out because they saw
Okay.
he had taken a hit to the head and wanted to look at him.
Well, it should have been a little bit more effective. I know he came back into the show or into the game, and he didn't really do a whole bunch, right? He got the one sack, he got a couple of
But
pressures.
that's
Our
he's
defense,
I'm gonna disagree with Rankin and with you that he's been a bust. He hasn't, because anytime he's been in, he's getting double teamed. He's he's pulling another guy, which is allowing other defenders to run free. So he's getting 2 sacks this year. Maybe he's gotten another one. I don't know, but he maybe not be getting the tackles, the pressures, and stuff like that, but he's drawing defenders away, so someone else is. So, and that's always kind of
true.
been part of his game too, is he's so dominant that he requires an extra person to defend him, so somebody else is getting a little bit of the glory.
Okay, and I'll give you that. However, right, if we would have kept God, who the hell was it that we gave you?
Kenny
Um,
Clark.
I'll think of his name. Kenny Clark. There you go. Uh, if we would have kept Clark, we would have continued. We would have been able to have a run defense, somebody to stop the run in the middle, because Kenny Clark always gets doubled, and then Micah Parsons getting doubled also, which then would have allowed, right? You've got 4-on-2, then you've got a mismatch. Right now, we don't have anybody to replace Kenny Clark. And honey, oh,
Obviously, she's a smart one in
honey,
the relationship. So
uh, she roots for the Vikings. Is she really that smart? So, Rankin right here. 2 first-round picks, use contract and game record. The jury is out. 100%. But here's why I say that. Okay. Parsons is a good player. He's a disruptor. He has a role, but you have to have the supporting cast in order for him to be that effective. You double team him, that's fine. But then when you've got 3-on-4, and they're able to three offensive linemen are able to lock up four of our guys. It all offsets. You can't take advantage of that double team pressure that Parsons is applying. Now, I will say, he was getting frustrated towards the end, and you could see that in some of his attacks because it was starting to get a
Yeah.
little bit personal. There were some swim moves that were, kind of aimed right at the face, things like that. He was getting a little bit frustrated because I think he wanted to come back and have a big
Oh, of
showing
course.
against Dallas to kind of, rub Uncle Jura's nose in it.
But
That did not
again,
exactly work
and
out.
I
We
think they
wound up
said
with
it
a
on the
tie.
broadcast, if any team is going to know how to handle Parsons, it's the Cowboys, who obviously, had him for 4 years. So they know what he's good at, kind of
Mhm.
ways
No, I
to
agree.
kind of negate him a bit. So
Mhm. I agree. Um, so at the end of the day, uh, thank you. Thank you. 100% agree with this statement. He's not a Reggie White. I also don't think he's necessarily trying to be Reggie White, though, because Reggie White was just a
yeah,
different player, different all across the board, right? There's a reason why they called him the Minister of Defense. And it was because of his character on and on field. He'll take your head off, but it'll also help you to the sideline and pray with you. Off the field, he did a bunch of great stuff. I absolutely loved Reggie White. He was one of my most favorite players. And
oh yeah, I dude,
even though,
he was one of my favorites too.
yep, even though he didn't spend his entire career with Green Bay, it was actually the tail end of his career, which he still was kicking tail, right? Um, he was an incredible person, and it was just a blessing to be able to watch him, play with the Eagles. It was with the Eagles, I believe, and then with Green Bay. Um, it was just an incredible man, and it's sad that he passed away at such a young age. Uh, Definitely was a loss. Um, so at the end of the day, we've got a tie, right? Everybody knows how we feel about a tie. Was it the Cowboys stepped up their gameplay and were actually able to run with this predicted super team that is Green Bay, or did Green Bay fall down a bit and the talent levels kind of matched up? Because there's a lot of pieces missing from both teams. And that's a fair statement, yes?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So now we have no idea, right? We don't know if it was Green Bay sliding back or Dallas stepping up. And so here we are with this tie. We may as well not even have played the game, right? Because we still don't know anything.
And dude, that's how I felt like when the final kick was over and the game was done, and I was just I felt like I feel at a team, my team like makes a 2 yard run to end a quarter, like
Yeah.
that's how I felt at the end of the game. Just nothing, completely unsatisfied, just not happy, not pissed, just nothing. And I hated it. It was absolutely made me feel miserable. And yeah.
Did you ever see the movie Rounders by any chance?
Yes.
Okay. Teddy KGB, right? When Matt Damon's character folds, he's playing the game against him, and Teddy KGB says the whole just like a young man coming in for a quickie, I'm left unsatisfied.
Yes.
100%. And I was going to post that clip on our Facebook page, but I didn't have a chance to find it. 100% how I felt also.
Yeah.
Again, we have no answers. So let me ask you this, fans, because we asked, for your opinion in the comments. How do you truly feel about a game ending in a tie? Do you think it's a good idea? Should we leave it there or should we get rid of it? Brian, why don't you tell us your thoughts on the tie?
So I mean I hate it. I no professional sport should end in a tie except for soccer because it's all based on points ranking or whatever. That's it. That is the only sport that should be allowed to end in a tie. Football, hell no. Ain't no way any professional football should end in a tie. College football doesn't even end in a tie. They keep going until somebody freaking wins. So I think what do we do about it? Well, I like the 10-minute overtime session, keep it that. But if it's a tie after that, go for a UFL style, do plays from the 5-yard line, the 10-yard line, not the 2, the 2's a little easy. It might take forever, but do something, 5, 10, maybe 15-yard line, and you get one play and, to try and score a touchdown. So I say from the 5, I think that would be fine, but alternate plays, score at 1 point, 2 points, however you want to score it. But at the end, the first team that, doesn't make it, over. Game's done.
I agree. I would say probably the 5 or the 7, right? 10 might be increasing the difficulty factor a little too much. You want it to be
You don't want
challenging,
like incomplete plays for the next hour and a half, So.
Right. Well, and it should be like what we do in the UFL, right? You get 3 tries, they get 3 tries. And then it goes back and forth until somebody messes up, right? I like that because a
I
game
wouldn't even
should
say
not
3
end in a
tries
tie.
because you've already had your 10-minute overtime. I would go straight to the shootout. So you get one round,
3 opportunities, first round, and then 1 for 1 until somebody scores.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's kind of the way it is in the UFL, right? We get 3 shots. If it's still a tie after those 3, then it goes 1 for 1, and it's just like I
Sudden
forget
death.
what the hell they call it. Kind of a sudden death, but it's not first person to score wins, right? If team A scores, team B gets an opportunity to try and score, and if they drop it, well then there you go. I like that idea. And just like Rankin said, there really is no place for a tie. It doesn't make any sense. It screws up the standings. It just complicates everything, right? So what's the point in that,
Yeah.
right?
And I mean,
Make it
we talked
win or
about
lose. That's it.
Our friend Chris was at the game. We kind of talked about going to the game and stuff. Dude, do you imagine how pissed off I would have been if we bought tickets, drove up to Dallas, got a hotel, freaking all that stuff for a damn tie? Oh, I would have been so pissed off. Like,
Listen, you know
I
what?
just had watched it in my living room, and I'm mad. Imagine if I was at
Yeah.
the game.
Oh no, at that point I would have been like, okay, sudden death, me versus Brian.
Yeah.
One of our teams is winning, you know? Just watch 2 middle-aged guys trying to duke it out on the field, That probably would have been better than the whole
Play, we're
entire
going
game.
like,
Yep. One play each and we would have been dead. But that probably would have been more entertaining, like I said, than the whole damn game. So, okay, anyways, so here we are with this big fat tie. Screws up all the ratings. But overall, I gotta say, I've been saying it from the beginning. Jordan Love is not the guy. We've talked about Dak Prescott not being the guy. The problem with these defenses is that they made him look like the guy.
both quarterbacks looked fantastic.
And real quick, Robert, you had a typo there. It's actually Karen Rogers. Okay, so I'll give you an opportunity to edit that, and because there's plenty of memes out there with him being Karen Rogers. It's the best.
I saw an interesting stat. You know who the number one, and this is based on yards. The number one offense in the NFL is
Who's it right now?
Dallas Cowboys. 405 yards a game. You know who the number 32 defense is in the NFL?
With Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys, giving up 420 yards a game.
just enough, right, to where it more than offsets you're in the negatives.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. We're going to talk about the Minnesota game. I want to touch on the Houston Texans and the Titans. Not a whole lot necessarily to talk about here, except for the fact that neither team looked super great throughout three quarters. Uh, Texans had a field goal in the first, a field goal in the second, nothing in the third, and then finally got all crazy in the fourth quarter, right? Um, this is their first win. Okay. So, congratulations to the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud looked a little bit better. But again, I think it was also helpful that there was a very bad Tennessee Titans
Yeah,
defense, you know, and they probably just got worn down and gave up.
and not just
Um,
defense. Tennessee is just a bad team all around.
yeah. So, and I do feel bad for some of their players because they do have, oh, what do we got going on here? Giving up the highest sack rate in the NFL and about to face Myles Garrett. I'm wondering, but I've got a feeling who is
That
playing
would
the
be the
Browns. Could
Vikings playing Cleveland.
yes, yes, and this is true also, but Vikings also sustained an injury that we're going to talk about later, so it's going to be really bad. But okay, so Houston Texans won, Tennessee Titans. You know they're Owen, right? 0-4,
Yep.
just just bad for Tennessee. Um, Elsewhere around the league, I did watch a couple of the different games. The Seahawks Cardinals game was actually closer than what I thought it was going to be. Uh, Little baby Kyler Murray, had some struggles. Um, 27 to 41, 200 yards total. Uh, he threw two touchdowns, two picks though, and six sacks.
Yeah.
Now, the thing I'm concerned about is that you've got a 6'3", 6'5" defensive lineman coming in at you and you're 5'9", 5'10". Couldn't you just duck? Right? It's not like they're that limber. Just duck, let him fly over the top of you. You know, it's probably because he's using the platform shoes, making him a little bit taller, and now he's an easier target to hit.
Yeah.
So
Do you remember? Did you see those jerseys though? The Cardinals one that they wore. It was supposed to be like their rivalry sand dune. I don't know what the hell it was, but dude, it looked like freaking. There was like a little mud puddle as they were walking in the stadium, and a bus just came over and splashed them all.
I heard that some people were making comparisons to like tortillas. And when you
Yep.
heat the tortillas, they get those
Yep.
little hot spots on them and everything, the delicious part of them. But I also heard that somebody said that it wasn't mud spots, it was feces spots because
Yeah.
they played like crap the entire
Yeah.
day, right?
Yeah.
So
Just
it
bird
makes
crap
sense.
on them, or I guess
Yep.
Seahawk crap. I guess.
Yes. The jerseys 100% were a joke. They were so bad. So bad. However, um, I gotta say, I think those Miami jerseys, the uniforms were worse.
I'm
Those
gonna disagree
Miami
with you, dude. I
uniforms,
really liked those Miami uniforms.
oh
I
God,
dude,
they were
I saw them last week when they advertised them. Dude, I thought they looked pretty badass. I like the dark and now I will say, helmet wise, I think the helmets could have been a little better. I'm not a fan of matte color helmet or matte helmets for football. I like the look of like a high gloss or whatever. I don't like just the low matte look. I know, but I'll
see,
tell you
and
the worst looking ones. Sorry, Rankin, the Vikings. That purple matte looks absolutely terrible. But as far as Miami, dude, just the black with like the turquoise or whatever, dude, I thought it looked awesome.
I kind of like the matte colors
You
on
would,
certain
all right.
on certain teams. Uh, Green Bay would not look good because our helmets have been glossed since like 1927. So having them wear a matte helmet would look really weird. But but there are certain teams, not necessarily a fan of the Vikings, but I think it looks okay with that logo.
I think
Um,
Washington also has a matte helmet that I don't like that one either. It
theirs
looks
just looks
dull.
theirs looks weird in general because of that stupid logo. Okay. Um, so let's break down the rest of the games, right? Steelers lost to the Vikings in Dublin.
They
I
they they
believe.
beat the Vikings in Dublin.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Steelers beat the Vikings.
Yeah.
I'm because I'm getting distracted. Uh, there you go.
Dude,
Um,
you're already behind the times because Flacco got benched. Gabriel's starting
yeah.
for the Browns now.
Yep. Um, I'm trying to remember one of the kickers. I don't remember what team it was for, but this was the one where one of the kickers got jumped.
Yeah, no. It was the backup quarterback. He
It was
got
backup
jumped.
quarterback.
Yeah, for the
Okay.
Steelers. Yeah, he got
Okay.
he got jumped and robbed. Before the game. I don't know if it
How?
was the day before or the morning of or whatever. Who
Right.
knows with
How?
freaking Ireland times? Who knows? But
How and why is this even a thing? Why did he break off from the group? Like, don't they have security for that reason to keep you safe when you're in strange lands? Don't you know you're an American? You shouldn't venture off because you become a bigger target. Like, why
yeah,
would you do that?
and I mean,
Thank God it was.
dude, this the black eye for Ireland too. Hey, first game ever, from the NFL in Ireland. Welcome to our country. Give me all your stuff.
I mean, it's kind of fitting though, right?
It
Because it
is.
is Ireland, man. They're
Absolutely is. But
it's that soccer hooligan mentality, and I'm glad they brought it, right? And luckily, it was a backup quarterback. They don't have any money anyway, so they couldn't have gotten much from him, you know. So I'm sure he had a couple of bucks and maybe like a knockoff, you know, some kind of fancy knockoff wallet. So right here you go. See, no play clocks, no anything because they're not used to it. That's the best part, man. And so we'll have to see if the NFL decides that Dublin is a good place to go back to.
yeah,
But one thing I did want to talk about the pure arrogance of Aaron Rodgers when they did the tush push play.
he wanted nothing to do with that play. He's like, you know what? Y'all go ahead. I'm out. Hell no.
Hmm. It's like an old man staring at you, making sure you don't walk on his lawn. You
Yeah.
know?
Well, it was
Oh,
funny.
it was.
What was that? I don't know if you watched it. The play that he scrambled, and as he was, got the first down, and as he was getting tackled, he fumbled the ball, and then like his lineman jumped on it, but at like on the field, as soon as he got it, he was like, yeah, pointing and celebrating and stuff. And then when they showed him when he was coming off the field, he was like, oh God, thank you, because
I did
oh,
not see that. I
dude, it was
wish I would have.
hilarious.
So again, Rodgers doing his thing over with the whole steel curtain. God, these kick things. I almost don't want to even use kick anymore. Anyways, um, Steelers get a win. They go on to 3-1. All right. Vikings wind up at 2-2. Still a huge threat. They did lose one of their linemen. They've already lost their starting quarterback, and there's other injuries. I Things are going to start looking a little bit grim for the Vikings for the next couple of weeks. But hopefully they can bounce back. And I'm sure with the threats that are in the NFC North, they probably only have to worry about Detroit, right? I kind of think things are going to level out for Green Bay, and we're going to wind up at 500, maybe 560,
No,
right?
dude. Y'all are still one of the upper teams in the NFC for me.
Only because of those humongous helmets that they have, right? And I want to say somebody asked earlier, I don't remember who it was. Oh, it was Jesse, right? Puffy heads, bigger targets. You would think, right? It would be easier for Love to find those guys on the field and hit them in stride. I don't think it works that way though, because even though it's a bigger target, it's going to be hard for them to get their big
they can't
dark
they can't
helmet
they can't quite turn their head around to see. Look,
right. And so it hits the helmet and bounces off.
I get it. I understand. They're wearing them for concussion protection, and I don't want to see players get hurt, get concussed. Nobody wants that.
Mhm.
But those helmets look absolutely. The Guardian helmets look absolutely ridiculous. Okay, I mean this is the NFL, a multi-billion-dollar league. They got to come up with something better than whatever the hell that is. You know, I know that they all have now different style helmets for, different players, all that stuff. They got to come up with something better than whatever those Guardian helmets are, because they look ridiculous. They look absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, I'll give you that one, Rankin. That one's pretty funny. Okay. They have currently, and it should be in production, I believe, a vest for senior citizens that whenever you fall down, instantly inflates like an airbag to protect your head, your neck, and your sternum. You can't tell the difference between this vest and a regular vest. If science can develop something like that, why do we have to have this humongous freaking cotton swab head looking helmet? Come on, NFL,
It's just gonna
do
be a
better,
helmet
man.
that expands like as they're going down. It's just like boom.
Right. But there's got to be something better. You know, we can invent all this technology to keep people safe, but we can't develop a better helmet to keep people safe. Like it's ridiculous.
I mean, they do.
So,
They have it though. They have the better helmets because again, it's all now catered to whatever your position is. Whatever all they have whatever 20 different styles of helmets and stuff. Some of them look absolutely terrible. Like whatever that was that freaking the duck build one that the some of the linemen wear and stuff. You know,
oh yeah,
uh,
I mean,
I think
even
one of the Bosa brothers wear it. Um, that one looks stupid, but
yeah, I don't know if you can see this one, but this
yeah,
one has the ridge
yep.
on the back, right, to protect the back part of the head right here, right. So this is definitely one of the specialized helmets. Um, it's also like a Franklin or whatever, so it really, it's not like that super fancy. Yes, and Havo,
A
100%.
thousand
Yeah,
percent, a thousand percent. They all look like dark helmet, especially Dobbs,
yes.
dude. I think his freaking his guardian hat just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the game.
I really think he put a Guardian cap over a
For his
Guardian cap.
guardian cap, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So elsewhere around the league, right? The Commanders lost to the Falcons. They're now 2-2. Falcons are 2-2. That helps you guys out because you're 1-2-1, right? So
Yeah.
still potentially a threat. Saints are still, losing 0-4. Bills, meanwhile, 4-0. And I believe they're the only undefeated team in the league now.
Eagles.
Oh, and the Eagles? Okay.
Yep.
Browns lost to the Lions. Lions move on to 3-1.
Shocker.
Browns 1-3. That one loss or that one win was against us. Now let me ask you this, right? Because I was thinking about this earlier. Okay, Packers lost to the Browns. Browns lost to the Bengals. Bengals lost to the Broncos. Bengals, I mean Broncos, better than the Packers because inception wise, it works, right? So, um, it's just it
I mean, the Broncos are a good team, so maybe
at 2-2. Eh,
they are a good
but
team though.
they've had some decent competition, I will say that. So, anyways, uh, obviously, Titans lost to the Texans. This was an interesting one. The Patriots beating the Panthers. Um, there was just some interesting stuff in that game when I was watching it. Um,
I didn't get a chance to see any of that one.
yeah, I mean, I watched some clips of it. It was just and the Panthers did not look good at all. The Patriots are starting to look better, right? So a little confusing there. Giants, of course, they beat the Chargers,
That was
which
kind
is
of one of the
weird.
big surprises of the weekend. I
Yeah,
mean, Chargers were 3-0 going into it. Giants were 0-3. Um, and yeah, I mean, I guess that switch to Jackson Dart, helped him out.
yeah. Uh, Eagles beat the Buccaneers, but barely, right?
That was a
That
good
was kind of a
game.
good game.
That
It
was a
was a
really good game.
good game. Yes. So, um, where else are we at?
Rams
Colts
beat the
lost to the
Colts.
Rams.
That was another really good game. Rams came from behind, ended up
Mhm.
winning that game. And then Jags beat the 49ers. Um, you know, which
which was
was
interesting.
interesting game. I just saw some clips of it and stuff, but
Mm.
kind of surprising. Maybe I don't know. Purdy was still out, so yeah.
Hmm.
Neighbors, yeah, that was another. We were talking about kind of before the show, kind of some of the big name players that got hurt. That was one. The other one was Neighbors, done for the
Yeah.
season.
Chiefs beat the Ravens, and Lamar
Dude,
Jackson came out of that game injured too.
Chiefs destroyed the Ravens. Like that was 20-37, a 17-point win. It didn't even feel like it was that close.
Yeah.
So Lamar, he came out. So at first, and even up to like this morning, I would told you, he probably tweaked his hamstring and was like, you know what, we're getting our ass kicked, so I'm just
Hmm.
gonna take the rest of the game off to not let anything flare up again. But they're saying that he's likely or possibly to miss time. So maybe it was a more serious injury than what it seemed at first.
I agree. Uh, and I don't disagree. We've talked about it before. Uh, Turf can have some advantages, but as far as player safety, the jury's out, and I think the evidence really kind of points more to the fact that it's probably more dangerous for the players than it is, good
Yeah.
for their health, for the safety.
And I mean,
Uh,
I think that's been kind of determined within the last couple of years how many players now are getting serious knee injuries on turf, you know.
mhm.
And then I mean, we can get to it, but the Tyreek injury yesterday, that wasn't on turf though. That was on actual grass. But
Yeah,
so
yeah,
obviously you're not, it's not switch to grass, you're not going to have injuries, but I think
no.
they happen more frequently on turf.
Mhm. Yeah, I think again because of just the nature of turf in general, things stick better. People
Yeah.
get hit in weird angles, and where grass, the foot would give out, it doesn't in turf. People tend to get jacked up a little bit more on the AstroTurf. But the NFL, I'm sure they have to be watching it. They've got to be monitoring these numbers and stuff and trying to make the best decision. But yeah, there's an argument to be made about, potentially getting rid of turf.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, Bears won another game, right? They beat the Raiders.
Blocked a
Not
kick right
necessarily.
at the end to win that game. So,
Mhm. Uh, we all know, obviously, the Dolphins beat the Jets on Monday night, and Tyreek, the whole issue there. Some people were saying that as Tyreek was being carted off the field, he was cheering and celebrating because he doesn't have to play with yeah, Tagliova, whatever. I think it was just because of the support from the fans. And then, of course, Broncos beat the Bengals. Bleh, right? There's
in the worst game of the weekend. But going back
Yes.
to that Dolphins game, going back to the Tyreek injury, man, that was nasty.
Mhm.
I watched it live and rewinded it to see it again, and because I didn't really pay attention to his leg when they went to it. You kind of saw the reaction of the defender. It was kind of like, oh, y'all need to get over here, and then the all the yeah, like, you see all the players on the field just like drop to their knee and stuff. Coach ran out, and I was like, oh crap, something happened. So rewind it to watch again, and dude, this rowdy like that's not just done for the season, man. That is I will be surprised if he ever plays football again. That could possibly be done for his career.
Potentially. A lot of it's going to depend on how well the surgery goes, how well he rehabs. He is definitely out for this season, potentially at least half of next season, right? It's just we got to wait and see what happens. But
Yeah.
you're potentially right. Um,
And not maybe, another player that's a bit maybe more fundamentally sound in route running, stuff like that could come back. But his entire game is he is incredibly fast and can beat any defender. He's not a great route runner. He's obviously, like 5'4", so he's not, not a big target, So him coming, if he was ever able to come back, he's going to lose the one thing that made him stand out as a wide receiver. So
Yeah.
I mean, you could see, you
Okay.
could look at Odell after he tore his ACL. Like he was able to play a little bit, but he was never as effective as he was. And Odell was a good route runner and had great hands. Tyreek is not, and he has pretty good hands, but again, 5'3". So
It's Tyreek.
yeah,
So let's go ahead and get to the injuries because we were definitely talking about that before the show started here. Obviously we know about Tyreek, we know about uh Lamar Jackson, uh
neighbors.
neighbors, Buccaneers running back Bucky Irving is still kind of getting assessed to find out how bad his injury could be. Uh it may not be like super serious. He may be able to, just take a couple of days off and recover, but he got hurt. Uh, we know about all the injuries with the 49ers. Again, we talked about Roberts, Vikings guy that got hurt. He was an offensive lineman. Um, Raiders lost a tackle due to ankle injury.
I believe
Uh,
what it was. Oh,
yeah,
yep,
yep, he's not wrong.
yep, exactly.
Uh, uh, Cameron Johnson, obviously the punter for the Niners, was hurt, but I think that happened last week, not this last weekend. Uh, Tillman with the Browns got hurt. I'm sorry, my dog's coughing. It's gross. Who else? Braylon Allen with the Jets, sprained MCL. He's probably out for the rest of the year, depending on how bad the sprain is.
If it's just a sprain,
Um,
probably not. But
I mean, again, it depends. It depends on how he rehabs and everything. It's sprained. It could be, minor tears. If there's minor tears, do you chance it? Right? Do you take a risk on potentially tearing it the rest of the way in the season, or do you look out for yourself, take the time off, get fixed up, and then come back strong next season? And it's with the Jets, right? I don't know that they're going to win any games. So,
no.
um, so chances are, right? Here it is. Vikings own lineman, right tackle Brian O'Neill, right? He has an MCL sprain. He's going to be week to week. Another one they're going to have to watch out for rather. Chargers left tackle Joe Alt, high ankle sprain. So he'll probably be out for several weeks. Uh, who else? Lamar Jackson. We talked about him. Ravens defensive tackle. Uh,
Yep.
Namdi, the defensive tackle for the Ravens. I apologize. I don't want to butcher his name and insult the poor man.
Well,
He's out for the rest of the
what was
season.
that? What's that? That Office Space from? Well, here we have a Mister not
Not going to work here
gonna
anymore.
work here anymore.
Yep. Let's see who else. We talked about Miller. Uh, Deshaun Watson apparently is still dealing with that Achilles injury. Um, Neighbors we talked about. Just a lot of issues, you know. And it's only week 4,
Yeah.
right? I know we talked about it last week, but I really think losing that one preseason game and adding one extra game to the regular season is not good. I think
Well,
they
it's
should
not.
add another.
I don't think it's that they lost the preseason game, and it's that they're not playing in the preseason.
Mhm.
Most of these players, their first real action is week 1 of the regular season. Hell, they don't even like really tackle in training camp anymore for
That's,
most of these teams. So
I mean, you're not wrong. So yeah, not good stuff. The injuries, unfortunately, are probably going to keep racking up, and it's just going to kind of depend on the severity. So it is what it is. I will say that, unfortunately, fantasy football, I've been just getting hammered because it seems like all the guys that I picked are getting injured. So I must be putting some kind of juju on them or something like that. So I'm definitely picking Aaron Rodgers for my fantasy football team. So, and yes, Robert, two-hand touch. So
Yep.
it's bad. Let's talk about college football, okay? Because we're kind of running out of time, and I want to make sure that we cover. Uh, UTSA obviously had a bye, so they didn't really do anything. UIW, I believe, also had a bye. Uh, Texas, did Texas even play? I think Texas had a bye
Texas
also.
had a bye week.
Okay, and then A&M.
A&M played Auburn. Tough game.
Okay.
I said it last week. Uh, once you're getting into the SEC schedule, there's no there's no bad teams in the SEC. There's teams that aren't as good as the top ones, but every team in there is tough, is hard fought, can battle you. And this was insane. It was a battle. Last year was a big like kind of a shootout between A&M and Auburn. Ended up going into overtime. Auburn ended up winning. This one was just a defensive game. A&M ended up winning 16-10, but it was a hard fought game. Uh, kind of surprised. Not surprised, but happy that A&M came out with a victory. But yeah, just said Auburn's a tough team, even though they're not ranked. Tough team.
Um, 100%, Robert. I support this. If we can get two Guardian caps to put on top of each other and get them in the Brahmas colors, and maybe I'll talk to our friends over at the End Zone Helmet Painting and see what they can do for
Get
us
one
to
of
help
those
it out.
the Brahmas liner Guardian liners. God,
I I 100% would do that just to be annoying, right, to all of our opponents. I 100% support this
you're
part.
being
So
annoying to all of our friends that sit behind us. That's the only people you're going to be annoying to.
maybe we can have them project instead of on the jumbotron. They can project on that helmet, and so people behind us can see also. Uh, so I think it's important to note that in the AP Top 25, you guys moved up to six.
We did, and
Texas,
I'm really surprised that you know moved up 3 spots with kind of an ugly win against an unranked team. But I think a lot of the other Georgia lost, LSU lost, Penn State lost. Those teams in front of us. But uh, yeah, I was really surprised. That we moved up as far as we did.
right? But even though it was a win, and it wasn't a great win, it was a win against a conference rival, and it's
Exactly.
arguably a good team that had some things maybe gone a little bit differently for them. They might be ranked also. So I think there's definitely justification for it. Uh, what I don't even know what that comment
He's
went
replying
to,
to
but that's
Havo's
fine.
comment. I don't know which comment it is. I got to scroll up in the chat for it.
Okay. Oh,
Oh,
Havo's comment. Dude reminds me of Spaceballs, and I guess he's saying me or you, and that's fine. Um,
maybe both. Maybe
also,
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
yep. My favorite guy though is the guy in the desert. We ain't found shit, and we'll just leave it at
Yeah,
that. Anyways, Texas moved up as well, and so did Tech, right? So now the three Texas teams are
Texas
in the
moved up
top
and they didn't
11.
even have to play.
Yeah. Um, and I still don't understand how Tech is at 11 at 4-0. I guess maybe it's the points overall because Texas is at 3-1, but they've got 1071, and Tech only has
Well,
967. But
Tech started unranked, I believe. So Texas started at number 1. So Texas lost and Tech's just been winning. So you know that's kind of why I'm not a huge fan of preseason rankings. I'd rather them start kind of week 1, week 2, once we actually see the teams that put on the field, because Tech may be one of the best team in the Big 12, and something may happen and they end up missing the playoffs. because they started unranked, but they could be deserving of that spot. So, you
Yeah.
know, I kind of feel like maybe these rankings should be official and start at week 1 of the season.
Hmm. I definitely support that. So this week, games of interest for me, anyways. Wisconsin against Michigan, right? That's always a big rivalry game. And that's for the I believe it's the Paul Bunyan game. That's the one where they play for the Axe. And lots of history, lots of rivalry there. Wisconsin's at 2-2, not necessarily having a great season. Michigan's at 3-1, having a pretty decent season. So that should be a pretty entertaining game to watch. Um, Number ninth ranked Texas is going up against number 0 ranked Florida Gators, right? Uh, it could still be an interesting game, right? Because it is an
It's an
SEC.
SEC game. I don't know how
Right?
Florida's coach still has his job, but you know,
Man, the same thing could be said about several coaches in the NFL, including the Dolphins coach. But right here we are. Elsewhere, Sooners are taking on Kent State. That should be a walk in the park for them. Texas Tech is taking on the Houston Cougars. And sorry, I'm deleting a comment. Uh, this is two 4-0 teams going at each other. And it, I'm not saying that Cougars are necessarily on the same level as Tech because Tech got all that UIL money to go out and buy a team, but it could potentially be a really good game. So you're going to probably want to keep your eyes on that one. And then, of course, A&M at 4-0 is going up against Mississippi State Bulldogs at 4-1. Probably going to be an easy game for
no,
Mississippi, or I mean for
no, no, no,
Texas.
no, 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 no. Do not finish that sentence. Do not put that juju on us, Ricky Bobby.
Right. Exactly where I was
Shut
going.
your mouth right now. Just don't even finish that sentence. All right.
No, I'm going to. I'm going to. Right.
Let me see. Let me see if I can mute you here.
A&M is going to be playing Mississippi State. It could potentially be one of those games where you take your opponent not seriously enough and it blows up in your face. I don't know that we necessarily have to worry about that with this A&M program, however.
Why not? Why not? That's been the A&M program for 40 years, as long as I've been an Aggie fan. So I mean that is we look great in the beginning part of the season, and the teams that we should beat later on, we just lose to them. So you know,
Potentially. Potentially.
and I think the biggest thing we have is right now the team is very, very undisciplined. A lot of penalties, which can hurt playing a team like Mississippi State. It just that makes it harder
Mhm.
to win. And
Yeah,
so I'm not counting this as a guaranteed win. It's just like any other SEC game. But the later we get into the season, the later A&M is going to have to prove to me that they're not how they've always been.
right. So UTSA is going to be playing the Temple Owls, uh, and that is going to be going to be an interesting game, right? They're both 2-2, and they've had some pretty good games with Temple over the years. And I think we've talked about it before. I think UTSA is still kind of struggling to find their identity.
Yep.
So this could potentially be one of those games where if UTSA and Jeff Traylor can get it together, this could be the turning point where they make the run deep into the season. This could also be the game where the wheels fall off and they don't figure out how to get it back on. So there's a lot riding on this game, not for the Owls, but for UTSA. And I've got a bad feeling. This is just me talking now. There's nothing to back up any of this or whatever. But I've got a bad feeling that if things don't kind of turn around and Roadrunner land, that there's going to be other teams coming for Jeff Traylor to coach their team.
They're already. I mean, there's rumors. Obviously, OSU fired their coach, and Trailer's already been mentioned in the names of, to take over for them. So they're coming.
Mhm.
He's a
And
he's a wanted man right now.
yes, and very much so. He's earned that opportunity. I like the fact that he's been loyal. Uh, oh God, here we go. Right here's going to be the lovers spat between Halmuda and Rankin. Let's see if Rankin responds. Meanwhile, uh, Texas State Bobcats are going to be facing the Red Wolves. They did not have a game since September 20th, so they're back on the warpath there. Bobcats, are looking pretty good at 3-1. And so if they keep up this trajectory, things could be looking really good for them. I didn't queue up UIW football. Let me take a peek at who they're playing. Um, nah, I don't want to buy tickets. Um, who do they got? They've got Stephen F. Austin. And UIW currently is at what are they at? I think they're at like 2-2, 1-3, something like that. I can't remember.
I think they were
But
one
they've
and
had their
three.
struggles. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
had their struggles this season as well, compared to how well they did last year. So again, another opportunity, try and get things turned back around. One thing I want to throw out there to our fans that are here in San Antonio, I would love it if, and we may post this on the Horns Forward podcast, maybe our podcast here. But what I would really like would be for us to get together as a fan base and go to one of these games in our Brahmas gear, right? UIW, uh, UTSA, whatever. Even Texas State. Let's go up to San Marcos, right? And show these people how to football the right way. Um, but let's get together and let's go show support for our Brahmas and go show up. I mean, the Houston fans are doing it at their games. They're doing
Yep.
it at the Texans games, and we can't let Houston outclass us, man. So, guys, keep an eye out on both of the podcast pages. Let's get together. Let's get something going. Let's have a big old tailgate and get the word out there about the San Antonio Brahmas. I'm sure we could probably, if James Carr is in town, we could probably talk him into at least stopping by and saying hi. And let's continue to support our Brahmas even in the off season because we've talked about it the last couple of weeks now. There should be some news coming out, right? It should be coming out in the next
Hopefully
what?
next week. Hopefully a week from tomorrow is what Rapoli was saying that he hopes to make the announcement by. So I don't know. We'll
Yep.
see. We'll see.
Yes. So elsewhere in the football ether, if you will, Gunslingers have re-signed 4 key players from the 25 roster, and they've got open tryouts going on. And so Gunslingers aren't wasting any time. They're putting in some work. They're trying to harvest a good team to go back and attack the IFL because they didn't have a real great showing last year. And I'm sure that the owners, the Ratcliffes, were not happy with what
Oh
what the
yeah.
team produced, and they feel that the fans deserve better. So they're really getting serious. They've hired a new coach, new focus, and so I've got to believe that the San Antonio Gunslingers are going to be coming back with a vengeance, right? In the meantime, uh, we haven't really heard anything from the Amarillo Warbirds, West Texas Warbirds, whatever the heck they're called. But I know that they're going to be making a return on the scene. I believe it's in the AF1. Uh, Beaumont has returned back to. I think Beaumont's going to AF1 also, if I'm not mistaken. Beaumont Renegades. They've kind of gone silent right now, and it's probably because some things dealing with the transition from one league to another, all that other good stuff. Meanwhile, Corpus Christi Tritons, guys, let's hear something. You guys make some
Yep.
noise down there. We haven't really heard anything from them either, especially since the fiasco with the funding and all that, and them having to get guys like us to go out there and play football to finish out the season. Probably not the best idea. So we've got our fingers crossed, but hopefully we'll hear some good news from down in Corpus land that they're going to be able to, put together a competitive team and kind of get back after it. That's kind of all we got, right? We could talk about high school football, but we're already 10 minutes late. Um, High school football is high school football. It's been crazy. It's been hard to keep up with everything. I still don't know how Judson is ranked. They're not having a winning season. We shouldn't even be talking about, right? We should be talking about the real powerhouses like Piper High School and Clemson and things like that, right?
Yeah.
But
I still ranked number one. I mean, that's pretty much
mhm,
it. So
yep. Games to watch in the NFL. Minnesota is going up against Cleveland with all the injuries, and Cleveland having Miles Garrett, as Rankin said, might not be so good for their backup quarterback. They might need a backup to the backup after this game. Houston, of course, is taking on Baltimore, 2-1-3 teams. It might be a good game. I don't know. I don't hold a lot of faith in that one. Dallas, of course, is taking on the Jets, 1-2-1 versus 0-4. New York Giants are taking on New Orleans. Uh, Two kind of lower ranked teams should be interesting. Uh, the Eagles are going to be taking on Denver. We know that Denver defense has been
I'm
pretty
interested
solid.
in that game a lot. Like you're saying,
Yeah.
Denver's got a really good defense. The offense is surprising for a second year. Bo Nix is playing pretty well. So I'm curious how well that they play against the Eagles. Eagles have been winning, but they've been winning ugly. I think what last week they had 0 passing yards in the second half. Um, so and I don't know. They've been playing. Like I said, they've been winning, but maybe they shouldn't be. So this is a pretty good test for them.
Yeah. That Tampa Bay Seattle game should be pretty interesting also, both 3-1 teams. Of course, Detroit is taking on Cincinnati. We have to see what happens.
I mean, dude, I think that the NFL is going to need to institute a mercy rule for that game.
Maybe we'll have to see. Cincinnati, I mean, they've got two wins. That one of
But
those
that was
teams.
the two wins were Joe Burrow wins,
That's true.
not Browning wins. So
That's true. But you never know. You never know. Washington is going to be facing the Chargers. That's another game you're going to want to keep an eye on because that's going to have, some effect on your division. And then outside of that, Jacksonville and KC probably.
that's a
Um,
looking game. Jags 3-1, kind of surprising. See if KC looked bad early, lost first two. They've won two games, looked really good against the Ravens. So that's kind of a good test for the Jags to see is that a legit 3-1. You kind of skipped over it, but one of the games that I'm really looking forward to watching is the Thursday night one, which is the 49ers and Rams.
oh yeah,
You know,
I'm
uh,
sorry.
division rivals, both 3-1. Brock Purdy's
Mhm.
supposed to be coming back, so that's going to be a pretty interesting game.
Yeah, well, he better come back because I need a freaking quarterback that can give me some fantasy points, man. I'm tired of losing. Anyways, uh, for me, right, Bears and Packers both have a bye, so it's going to affect the NFC North, but not much. I mean, those are the two bottom ranked teams right now,
Yeah.
and so 1 and 2 may switch places, but 3 and 4 is still going to be 3 and 4. Um, our guy Aaron Rodgers, he gets a bye week, and he's
Yep.
probably going to need some, what is that, ayahuasca tea infusion, right? Get him ready for the rest of the season.
He's going to get some
Um,
of that mushroom coffee, but not the kind of mushrooms everyone else has. It's his special ones.
yes, yes, the mushrooms that make you taste colors, that kind of.
Yes.
So, anyways, yeah, obviously we got a lot going on. Some really good games, some good college games, and yeah, so make sure that you're tuning in. Hopefully next week, fingers crossed, we'll be hearing something about the UFL. And let's do our shout outs real quick. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the UFL fans that are going out there and trying to raise awareness of their team, specifically the Houston fan base with the Predator couple and KJ and Rig and all the other Houston fans that are going out there making noise, trying to make sure that people know about it and that they get their ticket sales up. Uh, Again, to try and influence, what could potentially be the future of their team.
Yeah.
Um, I have to believe that the Arlington fans are out there doing some stuff as well. I know San Antonio with James Carr and the Horns Forward podcast, and of course Texans Talking Football. We've been going out there doing some stuff. We're going to continue to do stuff. I know the Brahmas are still staying active in the community. Maybe not as much as they should, but they definitely are staying active. So shout out to all you guys that are putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, man. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it going. Brahmas fans, let's get together. Let's see what we can do to continue to help out. Maybe go, like I said, to the UTSA game or to the UIW game. Let's just raise some noise, man. Definitely want to give a shout out to XFL Mike G, who I did not see here in tonight's feed. I'm sure he's probably got something going on. He may also be helping out Alternative Football Network. We also want to give a shout out to. They definitely help us out, so we appreciate what you guys do for us. I want to shout out to our sponsor, W Energy Drink. I am not getting any traction with finding any other sponsors, but we're still going to continue. So, folks, if you know anybody that's looking to sponsor a show or that is open to a sales pitch to sponsor a show, let us know. We'd love to be able to bring on some new sponsors and give out new shout outs and everything like that.
Yep.
We also want to give a shout out to Pro Arena Talk, Sammy Sharp, and our friend Bobby Otten, and all the support that they do, helping us keep connected with the alternative football stuff, all the indoor things and everything. And the fans, guys, we couldn't do this without you. So thank you so much for sticking with us and always being there to throw in comments and kind of keep the discussion going. And we appreciate everything you do. BD, what do you got?
Man, I almost feel bad telling the Jets to suck it because I mean they already suck. So I don't know.
Do you though?
Kind of. I mean, Mississippi State, they're okay, but they can suck it too. But whatever. Yeah.
There you go. So suck it Jets, suck it Mississippi State.
Suck it Jets, suck it Mississippi State.
I am going to say suck it Owls. Suck it whoever UIW is playing because I can't remember. I think it's like the Lobos or the Wolves or something like that. Suck it Ties and suck it off season. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. All right. Take
Later,
care.
guys.
Go Pack.